results. We're going to give our props now to workers across the pond. UK rail strike brings train network to a crawl. We stand with you. Tens of thousands of railway workers walked off the job in Britain on Tuesday, bringing the train network to a crawl in the country's biggest transit strike for 3 decades, and a potential precursor to a summer of labor discontent. Welcome to the party. About 40,000 cleaners, signalers, maintenance workers, and station staff held a 24-hour strike, with 2 more planned for Thursday and Saturday, compounding the pain for commuters. London Underground subway services were also hit by a walkout on Tuesday. The dispute centers on pay, working conditions, and job security as Britain's railways struggle to adapt to travel and commuting habits changed perhaps forever by the coronavirus pandemic. With passenger numbers still not back to pre-pandemic levels, but the government ending emergency support that kept the railways afloat, train companies are seeking to cut costs and staffing. Sustained national strikes are uncommon in Britain these days, but unions have warned the country to brace for more as workers face the worst cost of living squeeze in more than a generation. Did Biden do that? Can someone tell the right-wingers that Biden also controls prices over in the UK? Lawyers in England and Wales have announced they will walk out starting next week, while unions representing teachers and postal workers both plan to consult their members about possible actions. Fuck yeah. Honey, I think it's time for a general strike around here. Maybe we need a rent strike. We need a general strike. Maybe we need to show them who's fucking boss. Major railway stations were largely deserted on Tuesday, with only about 20% of passenger trains scheduled to run. Services will resume on Wednesday, but lingering disruption means only about 60% of trains are due to operate. Talks between the Rail, Maritime, and Transport Union and employers are also due to resume on Wednesday, though the two sides appear far apart. And you know, I didn't put it on my list, but let's talk about it. I would like to discuss the airlines here in the U.S., which apparently over the weekend experienced several cancellations. Since we're talking about transportation, this will buttress that story quite well. Perfect storm for airlines facing strong U.S. dollar and high oil prices. Global airlines are grappling with a double whammy from the rare combination of a strong U.S. dollar and high oil prices at a time when broad inflationary pressures and worker shortages are also placing pressure on the pandemic-hit industry recovery. The oil price and the U.S. dollar typically have an inverse relationship, so that when one is high, the other is low, helping to even out the financial impact on airlines that operate in other currencies. That correlation, however, has broken down in recent months, with the war in Ukraine causing a spike in oil prices at a time when the United States is a net oil exporter, and the U.S. dollar receiving a boost from interest rates rises designed to temper inflation. Airlines gathering at the International Air Transport Association annual meeting in Doha this week expressed concern about the oil price and U.S. dollar rising in tandem. This wasn't even the fucking story I wanted to talk about. They mentioned the shortages. That's what I really wanted to highlight. American Airlines will end service to 4 cities in September, citing a pilot shortage. As of September 7th, the airline will no longer serve Ithaca in New York, Toledo in Ohio, Dubaki in Iowa. Is that how you say that? All 4 cities are currently served by American Airlines regional affiliates. Pilot shortage. Here we go. Here's the story I actually wanted to read. Southwest airline pilots line up in anger at poor staffing and long hours as airport chaos continues across the nation, with 200 flights canceled today after 14,000 over the weekend. Nearly 1,300 Southwest airline pilots gathered outside of Dallas Love Field Airport on Tuesday to protest ongoing staff shortages as travel chaos continued on the first official day of summer, with more than 200 flights across the United States canceled. The Southwest Pilots Association called for better treatment of its pilots at the protest, which it called the largest display of unity in Southwest Airlines history. It described the demonstration in Dallas, Texas as informational picket in an effort to raise awareness of pilot fatigue, stress caused by an ongoing pilot shortage, which it says is to blame for massive delays and cancellations. Our pilots have had to address the fatigue issue with management publicly, which is something that we never want to do, but have been tired and have been trying to do everything they can, Captain Casey Murray, president of the Southwest Pilot Association, told NBC DFW. He said the main problem is issues with scheduling pilots on connecting flights. We've seen our company not really address a lot of operational problems, Murray said, and this has been going on for several years. While we do need to hire pilots, the main problem really is the efficiency in the scheduling and the efficiencies we've seen. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, guys. Everything's fucking fine. That's what investors are saying today as the markets bounce back. I don't think I need to translate Business Insider. Oh, I'm reading Business Insider Mexico, apparently. Unaware. Dow futures jump almost 500 points after a steep sell-off, with a sympathy bounce for global stocks. U.S. stock futures climbed on Tuesday as global equities rose, signaling a recovery after last week's brutal sell-off as investors' moods brightened somewhat. In the U.S., markets look set to start the week on a more positive note after being closed Monday for the Juneteenth holiday. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average were up 491 points, or 1.64% higher, while the S&P 500 futures rose 1.81%. Those on the tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 added 1.84%. All three major U.S. indexes tumbled over 5% last week as investors grappled with fears the Federal Reserve's efforts to tamp down on soaring inflation could spark a recession after the central bank hiked interest rates by 75 basis points for the first time since 1994. You will notice I've been focusing a lot on financial stories here lately because I think something's coming. I'm not smart when it comes to economic shit though, but I smell something a brewing. So I may guess at what the fuck's going on, but don't listen to me. But I'm probably more informed than say Jim Cramer. Listen to me over Jim Cramer. I can make that assessment, but still don't listen to me. That really tells you what I think about Jim Cramer. Do not take Jim Cramer's financial advice. Dave Ramsey sells these stupid ass fucking classes where you can get your Dave Ramsey certificate so you can go and teach people about being, financially literate and shit. It's just a scam for Dave Ramsey to make money. If you are taking a class from Dave Ramsey to become a financial coach or something like that, you're in a Ponzi scheme and you're an idiot and you have no idea how to manage money. Oh, fuck. Just saying, I hate Dave Ramsey. I had a friend in Nashville message me one time, and he was like, hey, a friend of a friend messaged me like they're looking for somebody over at Dave Ramsey's place. Would you go to work for them? I'm like, no. Dave Ramsey wouldn't like me at all. Oh, gas tax holiday would have a very small impact on prices, experts say. And I'm going to tell you, they're not going to say this, but I'm going to tell you why it will have very little impact on prices. Because the majority of the prices that we're seeing right now comes from price gouging. The tax is not what's causing the price of gas to be so astronomically high. But I do believe, while it will have a very small impact on prices, probably bring gas down maybe 5-10 cents tops, if that. It's good optics for it's good politics for the Biden administration. If I was a communications person for the White House, I'd be telling them to do it, making a big deal about the fact that they did it. But no, it's going to have a very small impact on prices. And he probably won't even fucking do it.
Gas prices remain near record highs today, averaging $4.97 a gallon nationwide. And with that, President Biden considering
ain't high enough for this shit.
Give Americans a little relief. What does that mean for you and for the markets? Andrew Lippow is the president of Lippow Oil Associates. Nice to see you, sir.
Fuck the markets.
Let's talk about what exactly a federal gas tax holiday means for consumers.
Well, currently the government collects 18 cents a gallon in a federal excise tax for every gallon of gasoline that the consumer buys. So if we have a tax holiday for that federal excise tax, that savings of 18 cents would be passed on to the consumer in the form of lower retail prices.
What would be the better policy would be like give people a gas card. Apparently they can't consider that. If you wondered about that, apparently they can't consider giving everybody a gas card because they're low on the chips. They can't produce enough of the actual cards to give everybody. But if that's the case, like you should just fucking deposit it in people's accounts. Produce cards for people who have to request a card and everything. It sucks for them and everybody. Like, go ahead, just deposit some money in people's accounts. Fuck. Here's your gas money. Do it. But as always with the fucking Democrats, we got to means test it. We got to make sure it's a gas card. You can only use it at the gas pump. Can't just give everybody like a fucking, oh, here's a stipend for gas. They might spend it on drugs. Humph. This stupid ass country.
Some relief there, but just in terms of the Biden presidency, the messaging, the impact that it's going to have on everyday Americans. What's your read on that?
National laws. National laws.
Nearly $2 a gallon since this.
And that's not even in the conversation. You aren't hearing anybody talk about nationalizing unless you're watching somebody on fucking YouTube or Twitch or something like a fucking me. Yahoo News ain't gonna have anybody on there talking about nationalization. Not even in our conversation. And they want to act like the media is left wing. Fuck off.
Last year, it's really a very small impact for the consumer. And the other thing is it does nothing as far as supplying the consumer with more energy, which is what the world is looking for at the moment.
Does it stand the risk of increasing demand?
Well, I think what it does is mitigates any demand destruction that these higher prices are incurring on the consumer. So while gasoline demand has been pretty good as Americans take to the road for the summer driving.
Flash, great point. The money you pay to your weed dealer stays in the community and goes throughout your community, has more purchasing power and more economic impact than going and buying something at Walmart. Abso-fucking-lutely. Man, this is wild. I fucking... So I was news director of 9 radio stations, right? and it was in Eastern Kentucky in the coal industry. Like they were, they fucking, they bought airtime on our radio station. Everything was owned and paid for by the coal industry. And I had written this thing. this propaganda piece is what it is. And it was a dad, like, tucking his daughter in at night. No, that was how it ended. That's how it ended. Fuck, I didn't, because, like, remember, this was 15 fucking years ago. But it was like, it was going to follow a dollar. And it was going to go, like, through our sponsors and shit. Like a Community Trust Bank was one of our sponsors. So the dollar was going to pass through the local Community Trust Bank. And it was going to pass through the Double Quick was the name of the local gas station. The dollar was going to pass through and go like into the pocket of a coal truck driver and everything. This was gonna relate to several of our sponsors and show how the money stayed in your community and blah 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 blah. And then at the end of the night, like, you know, it was going to be a dad giving it to his daughter and putting it in like her piggy bank, like kissing her goodnight and turning off the light was how it was going to end. I'm glad I never got to make that. However, I'm a fucking creative fucking genius. Oh, god damn. I don't know why that triggered that memory for me. I don't care what you have to say, Lipow Oil Associates president. You are the president of Lipow Oil Associates. You are an oily individual, sir. I don't trust you. I don't trust you at all.